Hey folks, Nick here from Another BookTube channel. Today, annoyed. I'm doing the I'm so annoyed book tag. I was tagged by Alex Unabridged, and I'll include the prompts in the description of this video, as well as the creator of the tag. I'm sorry, I'm doing this really quick, so I forgot to make note of who created it, but I'll credit them in the description as well. I'm going to jump right into this. These are bookish things that annoy you. And really everything here, I would say, if it annoys me at all, it's very minor. Like I don't lose sleep on any of these things. But kind of fun to talk about. I liked these prompts. They were interesting. So the first one is, do publishers ever do things that you find annoying? Share an example. The one that I think a lot of people are answering for this one is putting like things that look like stickers on the cover, but it's actually like printed on, so you can't actually peel it off. I would say stickers at all, because then even if you can unpeel them, sometimes there's that residue that's left behind that's really sticky and annoying. But my immediate thought was just the fact that like paperback books are so much more expensive. Like they got a lot. Like there was a price jump in my lifetime, in my reading lifetime of for trade paperbacks and mass market paperbacks. When I was a young boy, when I was a youngin, mass market paperbacks were a great way to find great books for like under $10. Like they were like $7.99. Maybe if it was a bigger book, it would be like $8 or $9.99. But now, mass markets, the newer printings you can't find for under $10.99 in the U.S. Like $11 is the entry level. And then there are some that are even more than that. And now you're getting into like trade paperback territory. And as for trade paperbacks, those prices are getting ridiculous. I understand, like for me, a good trade paperback cost is like $17, like around there. And I still see those, but it's for like the thin ones. Like I was at Barnes and Noble the other day, and they had Clive Barker's The Hellbound Heart, which is a novella. It's not even a full novel. It's short. And that was a full, was it 17? It wouldn't have been $18. It was either 17 or $18 for just that. And I'm like, that's a lot for a very small story, for a very short story. And gosh, there was one book. It was a thicker one. Oh God, what was it? I can't remember what it was, but it was a book I was interested in. And it was not even a small publisher, because small publishers, I understand, they sometimes have to charge more just because it's tougher for them, to cover their costs. So it was a big publisher. The book was $25 for a paperback. Like, that's insane to me. Like, I'm immediately putting that book down. Like, I'm not buying that book. And like, I think about people who like, they want to be able to read and own books that they love, but like they might not have the same budget as I do, and like they see those things, and like maybe even $11 for the mass market is now becoming prohibitive, So I don't know. I understand rising costs. Like I get it. That's just the way of life. Trade paperbacks. Mass markets in the '70s were like $3. And they get small. Less and less expensive as you go further back. It just happens. But I hate that it had to happen now to me. Number 2, have you ever been annoyed by a spoiler, even something as simple as someone else telling you that there's a great twist? I'm trying to think if this has ever happened to me for a book. I don't think it has, because I don't have a lot of like friends that read anywhere near as much as I do. I don't even know if a comic has ever been spoiled for me. All right, but I will say, just in terms of the topic of spoilers, which, by the way, I have a great video I posted recently about what is and isn't a spoiler. You should check that out. But TV show. I had a TV show spoiled for me. It was Game of Thrones. This was season 6. It was the second to last season, I think. And I'm gonna spoil this. So if you're one of the 2 people that haven't seen the Game of Thrones TV show, spoilers. But it was the season where the episodes kept leaking online before they aired. I had a friend at work who would watch them before they aired. And he came in one day and he was like, you guys are going to be blown away by this next episode. And I said, and someone else was like, "Why? Don't say anything. Don't say anything." And he's like, "I'm not going to say anything, but let's just say that when we come into work on Monday, I'm going to make a Yu-Gi-Oh joke." I think it was Yu-Gi-Oh. And immediately I said, "Oh, great. So one of Daenerys's dragons is killed and is resurrected by the White Walkers." And he goes, "How did you know that? Like, how did you guess that? I didn't say anything." I said, "Yes, you did. You said you were going to make a Yu-Gi-Oh joke. The only thing that anybody, like, if you're a layperson that you don't know Yu-Gi-Oh, the only thing that you know about from Yu-Gi-Oh is Blue Eyes White Dragon. Like, that's like it's like the big card. At least it was when I was younger. I don't know about now, but everybody knows Blue Eyes White Dragon. So how is that relevant to Game of Thrones? Well, there are three dragons that belong to Daenerys, and we have characters, the White Walkers, who have blue eyes. So how do we get a blue eyes white dragon in Game of Thrones? We kill a dragon, we resurrect it as a White Walker. So by you saying that you're going to make a Yu-Gi-Oh joke, you gave me all of that information. And he was like, "That's insane. Like, I don't." I was like, "No, that's why when people say, like, I don't want to spoil anything, but shut your mouth, because that means you're about to spoil something, whether you know it or not." It also happened to me for the Star Wars Force Awakens, but I didn't care about that at all. Um, but like it's the same exact situation. I'll tell the story because it's fun. So spoilers for Force Awakens, and I was at my comic book store, my local shop, and I heard people talking about it, and they said, like, someone said, like, "I won't go into detail, but what happened? That had to happen." And I was like, "Okay, so then Han Solo dies." And they were like, what, how? And I was like, "Well, if you're saying something had to happen, that means it's something that we have to have some kind of expectation for. It has to be an established character. Because with new characters, nothing has to happen. Only new things can happen. So something has to happen, it has to be an old character. So who's in the movie? Well, I don't think they're going to do anything to Princess Leia, and I don't think that Luke's in this one. So that falls on Han Solo. So he's going to be in it. And what would have to happen for him? Well, only thing that makes sense is that he dies. And so, like, the torch gets passed or something. And, like, we move from the old generation into the new. So you saying that had to happen tells me Han Solo dies. And I was right. So long story short, both of those long story short, if you start your sentence with, "I don't want to spoil anything, but," just stop talking, because you're going to spoil something. All right, number 3. Have you ever been annoyed by what you discovered in a little free library, a book sale, or a used bookstore? Tell us what you found and why it was so annoying. I don't think so. I don't have a ton of little free libraries in my neighborhood, and they're mostly just kids' books that are there. Um, hmm. I guess the only thing that annoys me is, like, if you go to a yard sale or an estate sale, and they're asking, like, full price for the book, and you're like, "No, this is a used book. You're gonna give me it for $1, $2 maybe." Like, it's not like it's a first edition. It's just some crummy paperback that is dinged up. So $1 will suffice. Number 4, when it comes to short story collections, are you annoyed if there's a novella in the middle of the collection? In the middle of the collection, yeah, that would be kind of weird. I've mostly seen them at the end. Like, I know that, like, the Brandon Sanderson Arcanum Unbounded has a novella right at the end. Oh no, does it have multiple? Maybe it does. I don't know. Nah, I guess not. It, if you have a 400-page book and you have one story in there that's 200 pages, it should be the last story. Like, it just kind of makes sense structurally, but I wouldn't get too annoyed about it otherwise. Number 5, deckled edges, beautiful or annoying? Annoying. I hate deckled edges. Outlaw them, ban them. They're stupid. They're awful. I shouldn't be fighting my book to turn a page. Why is my book preventing me from flipping through it? No, absolutely not. Deckled edges are so stupid. I hate them, and I have not bought books entirely because they have deckled edges. I hate them. Number 6, other people's annotations in a used book or a library book, annoying, or are you okay with it? A used book, no. because I know what I'm getting into. Someone else has owned it. Other people have their own way of reading. So they might leave notes. As long as they're not covering words so I can't read them, I don't really care a lot. If it's a library book, it does bother me because that is not your book. That is the public's book. And the library, it's not free for the library to have it. You don't deface library property is what I'm saying. But in a used book, doesn't bother me at all. Number 7, if there is a series or a collection of certain kinds of books, like an imprint, and changes are made, are you annoyed or are you okay with it? Not really. Because usually if it's getting another printing, that means like a series that I like is still popular and people are reading it and it's still out there. So that's good. I will say, mildly annoying is when I first read The Wheel of Time, these were the books, like the original covers in paperback form. These were the ones that were on the shelf. But as I was reading it, they started rolling out the new printing, which is this, which I think is a complete downgrade in terms of like the art, because all 15 books in the series have a variation of this cover. So it's boring. They all look the same. There's different colors. I prefer the squatter paperback to the taller one. And now I have a shelf where all of my Wheel of Time books are like this, because those first 5 books, 4 of them are this, and then one of them is the other one, and then everything after that is just the tall ones, because these went out of print as I was reading the series. That's a little annoying, but it is what it is. Number 8, do the decisions of characters in a novel ever annoy you? Share the book and what decisions you found annoying. I don't know. I honestly, I can't think of any off the top of my head where I thought, like, why on earth would you do that? I no. I'm gonna say for Stephen King's It. I don't know why they decided. I don't know why the kids decided to do what they did at the end there when they were lost in the tunnels. I don't get that decision and how that helped anybody. 9, are you ever annoyed by how someone organizes their books? What do you find annoying? Not annoyed. I mean, people have differing, amount of like space that they can keep their books in. Like, if you love books and you want them the way you have them, that's fine. Like, now if I can't get on anybody's case about not like alphabetizing their books or something like that, because I don't alphabetize mine. I have my own system that I cannot explain to you. It only makes sense up here. It's mostly visually based, but it's also not like by color or by book size. It's just like vibes. So I can't get anyone's case about their own organization when mine to other people would be like disarray. And 10, share something bookish that you find annoying. Just snobbery, general snobbery about like, if you're a non-genre reader that scoffs at genre, then screw you. Reading's great. No matter how you take it in, genre, non-genre, non-fiction, and comics and graphic novels. If you think that comics and graphic novels are not real reading, you're wrong. And that only tells me that you've never actually read one in your life. Because if you gave it a shot, you might find yourself very surprised. It might not be your medium of choice, but it's reading. It is what it is. So that's it. That's the I'm So Annoyed book tab. Thank you, Alex, for tagging me in it. Did I say that I was tagged by Alex Unabridged? I think I did. So thank you for tagging me. Most of the booktubers I follow have already done this. So I don't know who to tag. So if you're a booktuber and you see this, you're tagged. Do it. Go ahead. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today. But now it's time to get back to reading.